Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul. And this week I'm going to do a kit history and contents on this particular kit here. This is the 61 Impala SS 409 kits from Lindberg. Now, Round 2 did acquire the Lindberg line, and the newest release in the past few years has been released under the AMT label. I do not have that kit, but I do understand that it's pretty much this same kit, but it does have a little bit different decals, and it does have added wheels. I don't believe there are any other parts to it, just some extra wheels and drag tires, but the rest of the parts are in there. But I think it's because of the drag parts that are in this kit, and may have a mixture of all the parts. But I'll get into these. Wish I had that kit on hand too, but really not digging into buying another kit when I do have some plans for these, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I'll get into this particular car. Is a very interesting package, the 61 Impala SS, as it was the first year for the SS option. It was introduced shortly after the introduction of the 61 Impalas. So the SS brochure came out after. It was a special brochure. It wasn't part of the regular brochure. And it showed an Impala SS four-door. Now, don't know if any of those were ever actually made. It's kind of unusual because the SS option was available on any Impala. So in theory, you could have a wagon SS Impala, a four-door SS Impala, but any one of the Impala cars. But they're so rare, with only about 450 getting the SS option out of the hundreds of thousands of these that were actually made. So the SS option is very rare. Now, another interesting part about the SS option in 61 is it meant something completely different than 62 and later. In 61, it was a performance option. Came with either your choice of three different 348s or later the 409. So you could not get a small block or a six-cylinder. All the SS cars had special trim on the body, and they all had big blocks. Now, the 348 had three versions. They had like a 305 horsepower one that was available with the Power Glide. That was the only one that came with the Power Glide. Then they had two more 340 or a 340 horse and a 350 horse 348s. Both of those manual tranny only. And when this thing had a manual tranny, it had a funky little console. But every one of these is a bench seat. There were no bucket seats in 61. So it had the floor shift console, 4-speed, kind of an interesting setup. And also the 409 came later. And that's one of the reasons why. And they were kind of expensive. They were getting into Corvette money. So when it came to the SS option, very, very rare, as they estimate about 450 cars are actually produced, and it's unknown how many are actual 409 convertibles or 409 cars, as there was roughly 150 409 engines produced. So the 409 variant is very rare. But this kit has a lot of the parts. The only thing it doesn't have is the tri-power engine intake and setup. Be kind of cool if it did, but it's got different intakes and different stuff. So we're going to get into the kit components of this, as this one is only a lowrider. These ones are stock only, and this one's kind of a race car. Now, the Don Nicholson's car, I've kind of looked into a little bit. His was a 348 car, and he got a 409 later. Not even sure his was a real SS originally, if they added the SS trim. I think it was an SS, but very interesting cars. So we'll jump into the components of each one of these kits and what's different and what's interchangeable, as there are some issues. The first release had a completely different body, and the windshield was different, and it affected a lot of components. So this kit is unique in that aspect, and this is the corrected kit, and all the kits later had this. The convertible is only convertible, and that's kind of why I have this kit, is to put some of the stock parts in this one to make a stock SS convertible. That's my plans. But we'll jump ahead and go right into what's in each kit. Okay, starting off with these two, I'm going to do them the same because they literally are the same. And I need to do them side by side for a particular reason that I let the cat out of the bag earlier. as this is the first issue and this is the second issue. But we'll start with this one with the box art and everything. Really nothing out of the ordinary here, just this particular box art and then the yellow logo. Skill level 2, and it says a few things on the side here. Opening hood, detailed chassis and complete suspension, chrome-plated parts, detailed engine, vinyl tires, and detailed interior. And you got some nice shots of the interior of a real car. So beautiful shots there. You got your side panel. The other side's pretty much the same. And this talks about, the skill level being between 1 and 3. 3 the most difficult, and this one's a 2. And that this thing is instructions are in English and these other languages, and that the kit is actually made in the USA, copyright 1996 by Craft House Corp, all rights reserved, all of that stuff. And then on the bottom, more of the same, but in different languages. So when it comes to the box art, it's literally the same, but completely different colors. This one here, same kind of thing, but virtually the same picture, skill level 2, Impala SS. Just different color background box art, yellow, and then the blue Lindberg logo, of course. This says pretty much the same thing, but only 2 of the 3 interior panels, pictures. But it says the same stuff here, pretty much the same here, and all the same here as far as the details and the copyrights. And even here, made in the USA, 1996, Craft House Corp, all rights reserved. So that was the Lindberg at the time. So this one came out, virtually the same time, but almost right away. And the bottom, same thing. All the different stuff here, but just completely different artwork. Now remember, this is the second kit, and this is the first kit. So we'll get into what the differences actually are. So when I compare some of this stuff, I'll do it kind of side by side here. So I'll just get some of this stuff down and spread it out and around here. So let me get it organized. First thing, we'll jump right into these bodies here. Of course, the Impala SS emblems here and all of this stuff here. Some really nice engraving. The Impala taillights there, emblem back here. All some really nice stuff. And this one's got a little bit more flash on the other one. But this is the second body, and mine has a tire mark in it. Easily fixable. Here's the first body. Okay. Same emblems, same detail and everything. Really nice and crisp. And my first body example is a little bit nicer. But here's where the differences are right here. See the windshield cowl here. And how much more rounded this one looks. So there was a number of complaints about this windshield and the way this looks and just all of that. And, Lindberg did change it and adjust it and fix it. So while this one is completely buildable, you can use all the parts in it and it comes out nice. This may or may not bother you. Some of you guys may or may not even know. But, that was the issue. And this is the corrected one. Now, because of it, it changed a number of parts. So let's get into the rest of it. First up is a chrome tree. This one, the front bumper has fallen off. Okay, but there's the grille, the front bumper, rear bumper, all the miscellaneous mirrors, fender ornaments, door handles, wipers. These are affected, so these parts are different as well. All the stock wheels, the knockoff spinners, the tack, the floor console, and all 6 taillights right there are the taillight bezels. So those parts are pretty much the same. Here's the other one, but the wipers are definitely different here. They're a bit more curved and reshaped. So that part was modified. You can kind of see in the tree where it indents here. But all the rest of these parts are exactly the same. Grills, bumpers, everything. So only one part there has been affected. Okay, forgot to go over a couple of things here on the original chrome tree from this kit. See the top bar here? There's less details and less detail right here in this one, which they did improve on in the later kits. You can see the extra ribbing right there, and then the detail there on the emblem in the middle of the grill. And also one other thing, going back to the first one, the fender sight ornaments here, they got them mounting on the very ends, which means you'll have to touch up the chrome there. as far as gluing them to the fenders and cutting them from the sprue. But they addressed that on this one as well. They changed the mounts, and now it mounts on the bottom so that you can take them off and hopefully not mess up the chrome there. The bumpers are unchanged. I mentioned the wipers were updated, but that's just something I forgot to go over real quick when I went over these. So we'll put that in there. One major part that's been affected here is the dashboard. So from the front and sides, they look the same right here, but it's the top and the shape right there. You can see this one's much more rounded for that windshield, and this one's flatter, and they added the defroster speaker grill right there. So pretty nice there. It's all the pedals and everything. So the dashes are different, and they were lying there separately. Of course, here's the glass. Now, of course, this has to be affected. There's the windshield, rear glass, and then the headlights and turn signals. And then here is the other glass. So you can see the different shapes of the windshield, and right there. Everything else is the same. Kind of nice they added these spikes so the glass couldn't get damaged. So because a number of these were getting crushed in some other Lindberg kits, and glass was a broken problem. If you ever had any of the Mopar 63s, I'm sure you've experienced some broken windshields, because I've had a number of those and they were broken. So continuing on, here's the chassis plate. Very, very nice. Really no difference here. Nothing affected here. So these parts are the same, except for this one's still on a tree and this one's not. Same thing with the interior tub. Here it is on the tree. Here's the other one that isn't on the tree. Both are exactly the same. And they're really nice door cards, door panels, which I have the door cards, the other ones right here, exactly the same. Here's another tree that's affected, of course. Of course, there's the front seat, but the hoods. Of course, the hoods are going to be different. You got two totally different shapes there, but really nice detail on them and everything. Like I said, this one can be used and built out of the box. If you notice the windshield, or if you don't, no big deal there. But the rest of these trees really aren't going to be affected. There is one other noticeable difference, and I don't know why that is. Of course, there's the engine blocks of the 348 or 409 engine in this case. Then, the intakes, heads, oil pan, carburetor, and all this stuff. Valve covers, exhaust manifolds, which I believe those are more of the stock ones right there. Pulleys, heater box for the stock one, fan shroud. But this one's got this air cleaner assembly right here. Not 100% sure on that one, because it's got a single carb setup, but I don't believe it really belongs. That's more of the race one. And then the wheels are changed a little bit on how they mount. On the later kit, they have this air cleaner, which is the dual snorkel one, which is the best I could figure out. This is correct for the 409, maybe also the 348. I'm not really sure on that, because it's really hard to get all the details on the different air cleaners. But you see the wheel backs, or the mounts are different right there. And then the fan shroud. So this tree is really nice, but there really isn't anything different here. Just the rear suspension, front suspension, all the chassis parts, steering wheels, water pumps, all of that stuff, batteries. So nothing on this tree was changed at all here. Here's the trees for the exhaust and everything. So hood hinges, steering box, distributors, drive shaft, exhaust. But you can see the wheel backs are a little bit different here. So revised mounting on that, which, on the suspension, I forgot. The pins on the rear axle, you can see they're a bit bigger, a bit smaller on these ones. So the axles, the pins got bigger, and the older one is smaller. So I think that has something to do with it too, as far as that goes. I don't know if they just broke real easy and that's why they updated that. And the last of the plastic trees, turn them around here. Of course, the firewalls, the front and rear valance panels, radiator support, and the back seat. That's all there, and that's unchanged. Now, both of them also have these tires. So We'll just pull out one set because there's really no reason to share both of them because they are virtually the same. Kind of a pie cut. Really nice tire. So there we are, Goodyears. So there's some really nice tires there. And then, of course, the last thing is the 6 taillight lenses. Well, there's 4 here, and there's 2 clear ones for backups. So, kind of interesting with that. This one, of course, is the same way. There's the other 4. So, that's all of them. The instructions are unchanged that I can see when I looked them over. But the instructions are really nice and detailed and tell you all kinds of stuff. And of course, the air cleaner shown here, and then the other one having the other air cleaner. So they did the revisions there, and then we'll move that. That's the decals. Of course, this one, there we go, shows the dual snorkel air cleaner. And that one. And then everything else pretty much looks the same and everything. So a couple of revisions there. So the last thing in this one is the 2 decal sheets. They're virtually identical. Got the same kit numbers and everything. I didn't notice anything different. Just just one's older than the other as far as how it looks, but they look exactly the same to me anyway. So kind of looking them over. So a spare set for me. So I'll package this all up and we'll get into some of the other ones. Okay, that brings us up to this one, the 61 Impala SS 409 convertible, which with the box art and everything, it can't be built stock as far as the wheels go. So that's my main reason for this one. But pretty much the same box. Real similar box art to the second one. Same details there. On this side here, same thing, other than it was released 2 years later, made in USA, copyright 98. But yeah, you can see, and I think it's funny, you got some really nice wheels here. Looks like, Dayton's and your typical like 520, somewhat lowrider tires. But it doesn't really talk about much of it. So, and then of course all the same stuff on the bottom here, with all of the details here, but doesn't really say too much about it. Just the build level, copyright date, all this stuff here. But we'll get into the box on this one. And some of these I'm going to skip right over, and I'm going to jump right into some of the things. Of course, you've got your beautiful convertible body. So you got all of it right here, and the convertible body with the Impala SS emblems, all the details here. Okay, and then this cowl, much more corrected, just like the other one, but pretty correct, but the convertible part of it. So really cool body, and for what I like to build them stock, it's pretty much there. All right, of course the same taillight lenses, of course, and then the chrome tree. Now this is kind of one of my issues with this one as far as lowrider goes. You got all the stock bumpers and grille, all of this here, the updated wipers, taillights, the console, and the tack, antennas, which is cool. Got your dual antennas. Got these spotlights. And then you've got these kind of funky knockoffs here. And then you've got these wire wheels, which they don't look anything like the ones on the cover with these knockoffs. And you got your shifter right here. So, and they're not, lower profile 13s like a traditional lowrider. It looks like they're just 15s. And on top of it, you only get one set of tires. You get the exact same Goodyear tire as a stock car has. So in the wheels and tires department, you're kind of let down for you lowrider guys that really want them. It's not what these are. So, but for me, building a stock basically meant you just needed stock wheels and maybe a couple other parts here. But when it comes to the rest of it, of course, here's the beautiful convertible windshield, which doesn't really seem much different from the coupe one, but it very well could be. There's no rear window. Then you got the backup lights and here, and you got extra lenses here for those spotlights. So I got one really long backup light and one with a no peg. So kind of interesting, but that's, the way it is. Or you can even, switch them out and have all 6 taillights red. But anyway, there's the glass. Now when it comes to the rest of the kit, it's all pretty much the same. This tree is the same as the second kit with the hood that matches this body. All the suspension stuff here with the updated pegs. So all of that. So nothing changed on here. Here's the engine thing. Noticeable difference here on this particular kit. It has the updated thing here. It's got a single snorkel air cleaner and a dual snorkel air cleaner. But I've seen a number of these kits that don't have the dual snorkel, they have the single snorkel. Which is maybe on the low horsepower 348s. I'm not sure about the other 348s, but as I mentioned, the 348s with the tri-carb don't have those. And then the stock exhaust manifolds here. So other than having this extra air cleaner, really not much different here. This tree is exactly the same also. Now here's the dash on it. This one's still on a tree here. I'll just throw that anywhere. So when it's the updated one for the correct thing. Of course, these parts are all the same, and then these are all the same as well. So the only other added parts is this tree with the convertible specific parts. You've got your convertible boot. You've got the I forget what you would call these things, but they're the extra boots on the sides of the door panels for the convertible and meet up from the armrest convertible boot. A couple of different names, but they escape me at the moment. And you got fender skirts, which are not shown on the box at all. I'm not sure how these would work on a lowrider version or the stock wheels, but they're in there, which is cool. Not mentioned anywhere on the box, but they're there. Now in the instructions, it's pretty much the same, all the same stuff, showing the single snorkel air cleaner, the heater box, but everything else, all the same, other than, of course, the windshield for the convertible, and then the convertible boot mentioned right here, and then the bolster arms or whatever those extensions are for the convertible top are shown right there. So other than that, and then it shows the wheels and the skirts, right there. You can see the skirts put on and the antennas. So some pretty cool stuff there. And literally the exact same decal sheet, same numbers and everything on it, which makes you wonder if I got them all mixed up, but all three of them have the exact same. But there's no reason to have a different decal sheet anyway, as nothing else is different on it. So we'll continue on and move on to the race car. Okay, now we have to get into the race car kit, because for a kit comparison, I got to bring this kit up. And it's pretty interesting in its own right, as this is the actual Don Nicholson's race car, 61 Impala Super Stock, which, reading a little bit about his car, started as a 348 car. I'm not sure if it was one of the original SS's or not, or built from an Impala and all that trim added. But he got one of the first two 409 engines. So that makes this particular one interesting as far as the car history. But when it comes to the kit, of course, it's got the real similar box art here and everything. And I believe this has been reissued also. So I don't have the newest one to compare it to. But one thing that cracks me up here is this engine. It has the dual snorkel air cleaner, the smaller one that's seen in the other kits, the stock ones, but not in the first one where it has more of the big round air cleaner, stock wheels. But it mentions pretty much the same features here. And then on the side, the same kind of stuff. And here, all the same disclaimers and skill level information here. It's all pretty much the same, other than this one says it was issued in 1997, by Craft House and made in USA, which is, that's who owned Lindberg at the time. But you can see the headers down here and the steel wheels and some interesting stuff. And of course, the bottom, just like the other ones, all of the same stuff in all these different languages here. So we'll get into this one. Even though most of it has not changed, of course, here's the same glass with the corrected body and everything that, the 96 kit got. Here's the same body, nothing modified on it, with the updated, corrected windscreen there. But so nothing really fancy there. Now, most of this, like I said, same chassis plate, Same dash with the updates, all of that stuff in here in this latest version. Interior tub, door cards, that's all the same. This is all the same too. And I'll go and kind of go through these kind of fast. You know, all the suspension hasn't been changed. This tree hasn't been modified. So all of it's still the same as the coupe kit. So we'll just keep moving on here. And of course, the hood and the rear seat, or front seat, and everything there. So that's pretty much unchanged. Now the engine tree, most of it's all still the same. Updated wheel mounting, and all of this is the same. The stock exhaust manifolds are right here. The heater box, which I don't believe this version uses. But the air cleaner section has been deleted completely, which I think is kind of ironic. But, you know, move on to the next tree. Here's one of the trees with the updates. Here you've got that same single dual snorkel big one that's reminiscent of the dual quads that you would see in 63 and 64, but 62, 63, and 64. But in 61, the 409 only had one single 4-barrel carburetor, not multi-carburations. But this looks like it's the race car. It's got this fan, and then you got two wheels right there, which look to be rears. You know, on the box art, they're painted body color, but you're only getting two right here. This tree, the whole center section has been completely modified and the hinges removed, but you got the steering, the hinges, and then you've got this interesting air cleaner, which is the Cal induction air cleaner, which is not shown in the box at all. You've got the side exiting exhaust here, the balance tube, and the headers. So that's all pretty cool. And then the wheel backs, the distributor, and the drive shaft, just like the other kit. But this whole center section has been redone, and this has been redone as well. So quite interesting of the changes here, and then this air cleaner. And then the chrome tree, pretty much, you know, most of this stuff is the same. You got the tack, the wipers. All of this is the same, but you got two chrome front wheels, as they've got the hubs there for the wheel bearings and the front spindles, the shifter, and nothing here. So all of that stuff, the antennas and the knockouts have all been removed. But the shifter is here for the 4-speed, this console, and then all this stuff. And of course, it comes with the tail lights, and you got two of the same stock front tires, and then two of these. These are the drag Goodyear slicks right here. Pretty cool, but really skinny. And then you get a pretty nice decal sheet with all the stuff specific to this car. And then last is the instructions, of course. You know, they show a lot of the updates in here. The single 4-barrel breather tube, the headers right here. The two different air cleaners, cold air box and this air cleaner. So it shows you both of them here. The mounts and everything else. You know, the tack getting put on the side here. Grab handle. So all the rest of this stuff. So nothing really different in here. And then of course the wheels and all the chrome, and then the decal placement. So all of that is shown here, and which would make a very interesting kit. So pretty cool that all of this stuff is included in here. And as I mentioned, this one has been re-released once, and then also the stock version in an AMT box art kit that was shown as well. And that one's just got an extra set of these rear tires, and then an extra set of mag wheels and possibly wheel backs to go along with it. But like I said, I don't have that particular version. I didn't really jump into actually getting it, but that's kind of a reason for that is, well, I do want to build one of these race cars. The convertible I really want to build, but I want to build this one as a stock car. So while just about everything in here to build it is there except for the wheels, which is why I ended up with an extra one of these kits that have the wrong body. So because it has the less desirable body, I should say, I grabbed this one for parts and extra parts. And then of course I've had this one a long time to build as a stock, and I avoided this kit. But the only reason I got this kit is there was a bunch of them. It was a good price, and finding this kit can be a little bit difficult. So I went ahead and I got this and this on purpose so that I can combine them to make one stock SS 409 convertible, which is a very, very rare car. But like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, they only made about 450 SS Impalas, and, untold as far as how many, because GM didn't really keep very good records in that time on how many got what particular combo. They knew how many engines were built. They don't know what cars they were put in. The SS package was limited to Impala, but it wasn't limited to coupe and convertible only. You can get it in a wagon or a four-door. The sales brochure showed the four-door. Quite interesting, but if that car still exists or one of them exists, they're kind of unicorns, really, with so few produced. And then the money, if you're going to spend the extra money, and the 348 was available without getting into the SS package. So all kind of goofy stuff, but that's just the way it was back then. And for 62, the rules changed again with GM and their packaging and how they wanted to do this stuff. So anyway, that's a glimpse at these, and eventually I'm going to get into these, but of course I've been doing a lot of SS reading and Impala reading, and that's kind of why I'm going into this. And I've got a bunch of the 62 kits as well to kind of get into the AMT 62, so I'll do a kit history on those as well. Probably real soon, only because I've dug out a lot of these Impala kits, of course. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in and subscribing and hitting that like and share and everything that's in the video description, and checking out our sponsors, which this particular one did come from Hobby Nut Models, by the way. And you guys, thank you for tuning in and everything. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.